A 6'9" WNBA legend fouled out, stormed past Caitlin Clark, and what cameras caught next set the entire basketball world on fire. And what happened after the game is even crazier than what happened during it. But here's what nobody is talking about. This wasn't the first time. It wasn't the second time. And buried inside the league's own numbers is a statistic so shocking that once you hear it, you'll never look at a Caitlin Clark game the same way again. Stay with me, because near the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly why even NBA royalty is being dragged into this conversation, and why the WNBA might have no choice but to respond. Before we dive in, real quick, if you love WNBA coverage that tells you what actually happened instead of what the headlines want you to believe, hit that subscribe button right now. Most of you watching still haven't subscribed. It takes 1 second, it's completely free, and it helps this channel more than you know. All right, let's get into it. The incident that started everything May 20th, 2025, Indiana Fever versus the Atlanta Dream. On paper, it was just another early season matchup. In reality, it became one of the most talked about games of the entire WNBA season, and not because of the final score. The Dream survived a furious fourth quarter rally to beat the Fever 91-90, a one-point thriller that had everything. Caitlin Clark was sensational, finishing with 27 points and 11 assists, tying a WNBA record in the process. But the basketball itself is not why this game went viral. Late in the game, Brittney Griner, the 6'9" former Defensive Player of the Year, now with Atlanta after over a decade in Phoenix, fouled out of the game. On her way off the floor, cameras captured her walking near the Fever bench, and what viewers believed they saw in that footage exploded across social media within minutes. Clips spread everywhere claiming Griner mouthed something directed at Clark, words that, if accurate, would cross every line of professional conduct. The clip racked up millions of views overnight. And here's the critical part you need to understand. What was actually said has never been confirmed. Griner later addressed the media and denied commenting on Clark at all, but the damage was done. The internet had already chosen its storyline. And this is where the story takes its first unexpected turn. Because what Griner said after the game, on the record, in front of microphones, is somehow even more revealing than anything the cameras caught. We'll get to that in a moment. A pattern. The numbers don't hide now. If this were one isolated incident, it would be a one-day news story. But it's not isolated. And this is where the data becomes impossible to ignore. During Caitlin Clark's rookie season in 2024, she was on the receiving end of a staggering share of the league's most severe fouls. Analysis of the league's numbers showed that roughly 17% of all flagrant fouls in the entire WNBA that season were committed against one player, Caitlin Clark. Not spread across the league's stars, not evenly distributed, 17% against one rookie. Early in that rookie season, with barely a third of the schedule played, Clark had already been fouled 46 times, the third most in the entire league at that point. She wasn't just being defended. She was being tested, physically, relentlessly, every single night. Veteran defenders bodying her off screens. Hard fouls away from the ball. The now infamous hip check from Chennedy Carter that wasn't even called a basketball play. Eye pokes, shoves, forearms, the montage clips practically assemble themselves, and the pattern didn't stop in 2024. Fast forward to 2025, and Griner herself received a flagrant one for a hard play against Angel Reese. Then, in a separate game, Griner was ejected entirely after making physical contact with a referee during a heated moment. Ejected for bumping an official. So when the May 20th incident with Clark happened, fans weren't seeing a one-off. They were connecting dots. And honestly, can you blame them? But hold that thought, because the most revealing moment of this entire saga didn't happen on the court. It happened at a press conference microphone, and it's coming up right after this. Griner's own words made it worse after the game. Instead of cooling the situation down, Griner poured fuel on it, with her own words, on the record. She complained publicly about the environment, saying she was sick and tired of how the league had changed, that it used to be a peaceful little thing, and now the crowds were screaming and hollering, calling it disruptive, saying it wasn't allowing them to play the game. Let that sink in for a second. The WNBA is experiencing the greatest attendance and viewership boom in its entire history. Arenas are selling out. Television ratings are shattering records. Clark's games have drawn audiences in the millions, numbers this league had never seen before. And in the middle of this golden era, one of the league's most decorated veterans is complaining that the crowds are too loud. Fans immediately pointed out the irony. This was a player who spent nearly 10 months detained in Russia in 2022, freed in a prisoner exchange, welcomed home as a hero, and now she was on camera saying the packed American arenas cheering for the sport were a problem. Whether you think she had a point about crowd behavior at specific moments or not, the optics were brutal. And the internet did what the internet does. Where does Steph Curry fit into all this? Now here's where I need to be completely honest with you because this channel deals in facts. You've probably seen videos and posts flying around claiming Steph Curry launched a fiery verbal attack on Brittney Griner over this incident. Let me tell you the truth. There is no verified record of Steph Curry directly condemning Griner for the May 20th play. Those quotes circulating online, not from any credible source. But here's what is real, and in many ways it's more powerful than any fabricated quote. Steph Curry has publicly and repeatedly praised Caitlin Clark. He's spoken about her shooting range, her impact, and what she's doing for the game. Curry knows exactly what it's like to be the player who changes the sport so fast that the old guard doesn't know how to respond. When Curry entered the NBA, defenders tried to physically punish him for being too small and too skilled. He was grabbed, held, and battered off the ball for years because officials let it go. Sound familiar? Clark herself has even joked about the comparison, once commenting that fans want to see Steph launch 12 threes a game and defenders should stop grabbing him. The mutual respect between them is real and documented, and that is the actual story here, not a fabricated feud, but a parallel. The two most transformative shooters of their generations, both targeted physically because opponents couldn't stop them legally. That comparison alone tells you everything about how Clark is being defended and why so many people believe the league needs to protect her better. But the biggest question of all is still waiting. What does the WNBA actually do about this? The answer might decide the future of the entire league. The league's crossroads. Here's the situation the WNBA finds itself in, and there's no spin that changes it. The league is riding an unprecedented wave. Clark's arrival brought millions of new fans, record merchandise sales, sold-out arenas, and nationally televised games pulling NBA-level numbers. She is, by every measurable metric, the most valuable individual asset in the history of women's basketball. And at the same time, the league keeps landing in controversies about how she gets treated on the floor. Hard fouls, viral clips, ejections, and post-game comments that turn every fever game into a drama cycle. So the league has a choice to make, and fans see it clearly. Either establish once and for all that stars will be protected and dangerous play will be punished consistently, or keep letting every game become a referendum on officiating and risk driving away the very fans who just fell in love with the sport. Physical defense is part of basketball. Nobody wants the physicality removed. But there's a line between playoff intensity defense and plays that endanger players or cross into disrespect. And right now, a huge portion of the fan base believes that line keeps getting blurred when Caitlin Clark is involved. Caitlin Clark's response says everything, and through all of it. The fouls, the clips, the controversies, the noise. Caitlin Clark has done something that might be her most impressive trait of all. She just keeps playing. 27 points and 11 assists in the very game where all this happened. She doesn't complain to the cameras. She doesn't fire back at press conferences. When asked about the physicality in her rookie year, she said she's trying not to let it affect her, and then she went out and broke records anyway. That response, more than any statement from any player or executive, is why her fan base keeps growing. People don't just root for her talent. They root for her composure. The final question. So here's where we land. A viral incident with no confirmed audio. A pattern of hard fouls backed by real numbers. 17% of the league's flagrants against one player. A legend's post-game comments that made everything worse. And a league standing at the most important crossroads in its history. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Caitlin Clark is being unfairly targeted, or is this just the price of being the face of the league? Was the reaction to the Griner clip justified, Or did the internet rush to judgment on unconfirmed footage? And what should the WNBA actually do? Stricter officiating, harsher penalties, or nothing at all? Drop your take in the comments. I read as many as I can, and the best ones shape future videos on this channel. If this breakdown gave you something the headlines didn't, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the next one. Because the way this season is going, the next chapter of this story is probably coming sooner than any of us expect. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.